Welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're returning. This is Sherry Mosley, and we are connecting to this full moon of February 12th, 2025. If you are going through ascension, there is a process in which pure essence, pure life force energy pushes forward to allow that new self to be born. And this process is catalyzed through what can be considered a divine plan. A divine plan that many souls have agreed to be a part of. This divine plan is what we are stepping into more and more and more as our world becomes New Earth. When we go through birthing spurts of this process, there is a lot of energy that is needed to go through these birthing spurts, and we are going through great healing as we are reborn into a truer self, one that is of a higher frequency and more connected to Source. This is much like a caterpillar becoming the butterfly. Our world does not usually provide us a cocoon to do this. A cocoon provides safety, stillness, sustenance, nutrients to go through a very powerful restructuring process. This full moon is putting us through this process. I spoke about this a bit on the new moon part 2, the amount of energy that is needed for this. And I wasn't quite sure what was occurring, but felt a lot of what many call ascension symptoms. These are more or less the source energy being rearranged, dropping out distortions and allowing the new to level up, or the new automatically levels up as the distortions drop away. And this may lead to wanting to cocoon, to be in a still, safe place, full of nutrients and everything that you need to sustain this. So in our waking world, if we're not doing that during such shifts, we may feel drained or tired. We may feel like we can't keep up. We can't give ourselves enough nutrients to do what we normally do. So this is where we have to surrender and allow ourselves to cocoon as we go through this process. And what I've been shown so far in the extended transmission for this full moon is that we are now activating this energy that came in at the new moon. The new moon brought in the structure. The full moon is bringing in the activation. And the activation is almost that spark of life or light. And these two things are going to allow us to then, once we come into the Pisces season, be reborn into the beginning of a new era, a new way of being. So this is a very special, precious time to be inward or connecting to the divine and taking great care of body, mind, spirit complex to be able to make this transition in the best way possible. Now, the second part of that transmission that channeled through is a bit of a story. And in shamanism, stories are used for healing and awakening. And this is more or less what our movies and TV series are for. And many of these, we are watching them, or we can watch them from a very spiritual perspective, where we are receiving a deep soul healing. And I have always watched and love 80s movies, and I've always loved The Karate Kid and that series, primarily probably because it's based in the Asian arts. And the series Cobra Kai that continued the story. And in that series, they really start with, the pain and the suffering that the bully has gone through. Why is the bully the bully? And the series is coming to a completion now, so a little bit of a spoiler alert if you have not seen it yet. I'm about halfway through. Then you should stop listening to this if you don't want a spoiler, if you haven't watched the whole thing. But the story is basically, one karate student, his teacher, he learned karate as a form of defense, but more of an attacking form because it was taught during war times. And so there is an aggressiveness, and their theme is no mercy. And this really represents the ego and being attacked, and attacking from being attacked, right? Not from a place of trying to transcend. And the student, it starts off with him opening up his own Cobra Kai dojo. And then his old teacher comes back and takes over it because he is very attached to it. He has nothing else going on in his life. He feels very empty without this. But he still also has not healed his inner pain from being in war, right? And having to do everything from a place of being aggressive and conquering, and from a place of fear, lack of connection and intimacy, right? So both the student who didn't have a good father, didn't have any, intimacy with parents, no close love, and the same thing with the teacher, right? So these are people that didn't have, a strong, loving connection. Which this is common, in our society, that many end up in scenarios where there are unideal situations and or ancestral karma coming in, and this creates patterns of falseness that then avoid intimacy and connection, and allowing the deeper soul connection to resonate. And in this series, the final, he goes through seasons of, trying to transcend this pain, and ultimately he comes to this final season, and he's able to just express all that pain to the teacher, and the teacher receives it and says, oh, you can go and have the Cobra Kai dojo name. But what happens is, in this episode, and I thought it was going really fast, but it seems so much like a soul healing, because first his partner that he's with is pregnant. This is the karate student who's now an adult, right, creating his own dojo. He is they're not engaged, but his partner's pregnant, so then he has to propose to her, right? So being vulnerable, and then as soon as she says yes, she's about to go into labor, so then they get married right there in the hospital. And then as soon as he walks out of the hallway, then he has this interfacing with his teacher, And all of those things are just him healing all of that pain and isolation that he had for so long. And it's such a profound little story for right now, because that's what this moon cycle is. It's what it's bringing, right? We had this new moon and now this full moon, and it's wiping out so much of these, karmic layers as Pluto comes fully into Pluto and Aquarius, right? And this has been going on since the end of November. Okay, we had the eclipses that probably brought some stuff up, and then there's things just filtering out through that time. And now we're coming to this rebirth, which is what the earlier part of this channeling was talking about. And it's quite a process. And I've noticed there's also souls now that are transitioning to the other side because they are done with that cycle, right? So they're not transcending it in this dimensional form, but in a higher dimensional form, right? I mean, once you get into the all, the universal all, it doesn't matter whether you're incarnated or not incarnated. The transcendence of the cycle can happen either through death or while you're awake and conscious and plugged in and transcending it in this current life experience. Which brings me to the next series that me and my clients, we've been watching, the OA. And that is definitely a powerful series of souls that are destined to connect, and how they are healing great pain and suffering, which they term as what an angel is one who has transcended because they have been through so much suffering, and now all they have is faith. And then within that, they are able to then transcend or travel from one lifetime to the next consciously. So they literally jump from one dimensional lifetime into another consciously, remembering who they are, right? So that's a representation of an awakened soul. So that's another example of, the souls that may be just transitioning to another dimensional timeline. They're already so conscious when they do that, they're going to go into the next timeline knowing exactly what they're doing. So yeah, a lot of very interesting, powerful synchronicities happening. The other two movies, I posted these on my Instagram, and they're just popping up right now, is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. The other one's Defending Your Life, which is also an 80s movie of life after death, where they are having their life review and facing judgment and being criticized and fear of, stepping outside of that and getting what you want, or not just what you want, but what is aligned, right? That excitement that the soul is saying yes to, right? But it's oftentimes the fear of judgment or what others are going to think. We don't do that. And so as you go through this life review in the movie, it helps them be evaluated. And, one of the main characters has to transcend that to, even in life after death, again, doesn't matter whether you're, quote, incarnated in a lifetime on Earth or in the beyond. It doesn't matter. You're still sorting out this, how do I just follow the soul and what it's saying to do, right? That highest timeline that's connected to the universal all. And then the other movie is another 80s movie, and I can't believe I'm not remembering the name of this, because there's two movies and the names are very similar. This one is Made in Heaven, and that one is about two souls that are they meet in heaven. So again, quote, not incarnated or in another dimensional place. Then they come into Earth. One comes into Earth and the other one says, well, I don't want to be apart from that person, that soul. I should say soul because they're not incarnated yet. I need to be with them. And then coming back down here, forgetting who they are, and then their paths winding in and out until they find each other again on the earth plane, right? So again, transcending all of the, the falsities, right? All these things are talking about this, all these stories. And so this is just showing, the massive leap that we are in right now, which again, that also brings me to the other series that I've been watching during this time, which is Quantum Leap, which is literally about he transcends life altogether and he's jumping divinely guided, right? He doesn't control the lifetimes that he jumps to, divinely jumped into other lifetimes, and he has a spirit guide telling him, this is what you're here to do. And so he goes through this lifetime fully conscious of what he needs to do. And as soon as that's complete, then goes to the next one and then the next one. And he's, quote, helping others align by, coming into their body as a pure consciousness to help them transcend whatever it is that they are getting stuck in. I mean, it's so, so spiritual, right? And I mean, you could more or less call him a type of angel again, right? Or you could say like a higher spiritual consciousness that a human may have in a moment to help them transcend something, like coming back to the first series I was talking about, the Cobra Kai series, right? He's having a moment where now he's transcending everything, right? He's awakening from everything and letting go of his ego and all the fears and just going for it. Yeah. So so you can watch all of those series if you want, if any of them help you. But yeah, that they're all representative of, the huge leap that we are taking right now with this moon cycle. And again, it may bring up lots of symptoms. One of my practitioners, my acupuncturist, used the term of, it's like being like a baby again, so me and some of my other clients have had an increased appetite, right? And this happens when we go to Mount Shasta. I talked about this in the new moon part 2, because you're processing so much energy, you're shifting so much so quickly. It's like you're processing higher knowledge and understanding, and so there's like you're burning a lot of chi going through this process, this metamorphosis. So there can be increased hunger and appetite, and as well as hydration. So the body is shifting to a whole new, I think they call it a whole new light skeleton, and that is taking just a lot of energy to bring that online. So yeah, a lot going on with this moon. Alright, so we're just going to get to the final part of this message. I've just been having these spurts of downloads that I've put together for this moon channeling, because it's such a potent time right now. There's things coming in left and right. Alright, so we're just going to settle in here, so make sure that you are seated in a quiet place. You can open your own Akashic Enlightenment if you'd like to. I'm just going to go ahead and connect to the Temple of Light, where we'll connect to the Angelic Ascended Masters, all of our benevolent higher beings there for what they may have for us at this time. Just moving dimensionally to the Temple of Light space. We have the Elohim coming in. Kasha no okuna nekea shara oku. Karanaku anashia ana anaku, a time of great change and healing. Kasha araruku area rashanoko atanoku. Teshanaku arahata aneshe. You are being tuned to a new light frequency for an entire new wave of frequency of light on earth. Karanakasha ne kana oku ne shakana neke. Takara oku shuku ana ne Ahanaku sheke ana ano. This activates different frequencies in each of you depending on your planned soul destined path that you incarnated with. Kashta nuku re anahu tuana. Keshanakana oku washi. Upgrades can also happen from that original path or plan. Kishtoku nuku nana shekara nuku. Kiranake ashana kate ata. Kua shakana kukune. Kukune kana nekaja kete shiki kotu. Kotu are kera nakasha nuku. A na nuku neke are. Tete anuku kuna nashe. Teshe naku kura ane toku. Toko ananake sheketana. Koshte nake keneke noku kune anaka nashe. Kashanoku hada nashe ke ashanaka. And they're saying something of waiting for these downloads to finish before you feel you or think you know the plan that is ahead. There are shifts and adjustments that are taking place now that will activate, open, and unpack as the year goes forward. Katanaku kosheke a ane kanaku karakataki kashanaku kodarake asha ataku kataku kareana kashe ashakana kukure. You may feel tired, hungry, thirsty as you go through this activation, but also a powerful shifting process. Kananuku uku asha naka ne ahanaku are a kasha ane ato uku a kia hasha naka anoku. Coming to new accelerated understandings and realizations that will come to a full understanding as you move forward in your path to come. Katanaku are anahuku tokusha tesha atoku kure anta ku ne ehanoku kare atakanoku sheke na aduna kana karanukune sheke anaku kuna a hate reku oro aranoku sheke ana tataku kura nake ene kinaku kure ana kure karasha karanaku kashianaku raka urakanaka nake kedara kura teshakata naku undaka nake ata kiana hashi niki. You may also begin to experience more galactic contact as the frequency of the earth begins to change, coming more into alignment with this awareness. Kataku are shanake a anahu une neahanaku kuna ataku korea rahata nohutu a shaneaka noku. Now, just a sense of Archangel Michael's presence beginning to activate the frequencies of the new light body upgrade that came in at the new moon. The activation, full activation, is in the extended transmission. Right now it just feels like we're gently connecting to it. The understanding that this is what is going on or is underway at this time. And just allowing that to unfold in the timing that it has of its own. And now it's just starting to slow down now, the frequencies are. And now we're starting to come back to this dimensional space. Just coming back to the room and the space that you're in. Coming all the way back. And again, there's a sense of, a lot of these new energies were received by me and the group when we went to Mount Shasta in August of 2024. And these are further unpacking and assimilating at this time. If you feel drawn to those frequencies, all of that is recorded and available as a replay on my online portal. And a lot of these are unpacking as a lot of the new classes that we're doing, the Elohim Keeper of Light Master Key Codes, which we just started level 3, and the Temple of Light Mastership Program, which we will be starting, I think, sometime in the spring. We'll see how that unfolds more, but it's available as one-on-one sessions if you're called to that. Again, these are frequencies that came in as teachings or attunements for the collective to receive for those that feel called to them as part of their soul's work at this time. And if you're needing a personal Shamanic Akashic session, you can sign up for that for any personal assistance in your healing or understanding your path at this time. Or if you're having a lot of physical symptoms, you can sign up for the Shamanic Asian Medicine session, and we can help you with anything that's going on now or cumulatively that you've been working with. And yeah, you can always work in your own Akashic Enlightenment. The book is available on my website, sherrymosley.com, as well as on Amazon. Alright, so lots of information, lots of tools for this moon video. There is so much going on. We are really embarking on a whole new journey here. So lots of self-care, lots of rest, eat good, healthy food and plenty of food. Hydrate, coconut water, bone broth, electrolytes, some time in nature, and yeah, just go with the flow of everything that is occurring right now. Yeah, knowing we are part of a great divine plan that is underway. Alright, sending you all so much love and light. Hope you're enjoying your journey, and bye for now.